All right, let's make our final picks for week 4. A couple of big games on our radar. If you can't watch them all, try to watch these, basically, is what we're
Hmm.
trying to say. And we love a rivalry, even if it's a newer rivalry. Let's make some picks for Angel City FC versus San Diego Wave FC. This one kicking off on Sunday, closing things out 8 p.m. Eastern time. Catch all the games on Paramount Plus. Looking at a couple teams here who also kicked off their Challenge Cup round 1. San Diego Wave getting the narrow win over Portland Angel City, walking away with a loss. We did not see the debut of Julia, so we thought we would. We were also wrong on that, along with maybe
Yeah.
some of our picks
We're
along the
taking
way.
the L's. We're taking the L's as they
Got to
come.
take them.
No, no Juilliard. She was there.
Hey,
She,
Alice for learning. We're all learning here.
yeah.
I'm look. Does that mean we're talking about the preview? We're talking about making picks. Does that mean we're going to see her in week 4 for Angel City?
Um, y yes. I'm just
Question mark.
Yeah, no, no, I'm gonna say yes with a period. No, we did not get to see Julia Ertz last night make her debut for Angel City, but we did get to hear from her. The CBS Sports Network crew did an interview with Julia Ertz at halftime of the Angel City OL Reign Challenge Cup game. Mike Watts, Jordan Angeli on the call, and they got to talk to Ertz and kind of say like, how are things? And the way that she answered the question, I was doing investigative journalism at this point of halftime of this game, listening to her because the way she answered it, she was like, I'm excited to get out there and play with them, to
Yeah.
start training with them. And I believe she said to start training with them, meaning she hadn't trained with Angel City yet. Um, so that's why we didn't see her last night, right? Among, I'm sure, a couple of other reasons. And if there's something like some type of hoops that she has to jump through, right? You have to get your physical done. You got to make sure all the paperwork
Yeah.
signed. You got to get a lot of things checked off. You got to move to the city if she wasn't already living there before you can start training and before you can start playing. So as of Wednesday, if a player has not trained with a club yet, and that probably means like lifting or film sessions, right? Nothing at all. That's a pretty tight turnaround to give them 2 days of training, right? 3 days of training because this Angel City San Diego game is happening Sunday night at 8 o'clock. That's a that's a tight turnaround to get
Yeah.
a player time and get them minutes with a brand new team and a new system and throwing a lot into the mix. However, I still think we're going to see her. I think
Yeah.
we're going to get time from Julia. It's at the end of the game. She won't get a start, but it's such a big rivalry game. It's at home for Angel City. That's where you want a player like that to make her debut with the club and with the team. Yeah, I hope we get it. I hope we get it. But this is going to be a massive game. A
No, I hear
massive
you.
game.
Okay, so we both. I'm with you. We both think that we're going to see some type of minutes
I
from
mean, we thought we were going to see her last night, though. So
It's almost at this point we're trying to manifest it, like we're trying to will it into existence. Let's see Julie Ertz. I mean, all of the storyline was she had to get into a club and she had to get minutes. So let's see those minutes. We both are there. We both think we're going to see some type of minutes from Ertz in this game against San Diego. Does that sway you? Does that sway you in your pick for these two teams, and who might walk away with a win, a loss, or a draw?
well, yesterday when we previewed Challenge Cup, I said that we were going to see Julie Ertz.
Yeah,
And I also said that because of that, Angel City was going to get the win.
yeah.
I was 0 for 2 on yesterday's picks with Angel City. We did not see Julie Ertz, and Angel City got beaten 2-0 by
Yep.
OL Reign. Now, I do think we will see Julie Ertz for Angel City this time. However, I think San Diego is going to get the win over Angel City. This California Clash rivalry is new, right? This is only the third time these teams have played each other in history, in regular season history, right? I'm not talking Challenge Cup. And the rivalry is already there. It's already budded. This is from the front office to the players to the fans to everyone involved. And I just like what we're seeing from San Diego right now. This is a team that's coming off a 1-0 win over Portland, in which they forced an own goal to get the win in Challenge Cup. This is also a San Diego team that's running throughout this regular season. They picked up a loss in the regular season last week against OL Reign, but we got to see a little bit of minutes from Alex Morgan last night at the end of the game. So she's got fresh legs coming into it. I just think that San Diego is going to go into BMO,
Yeah.
excuse me, in LA and pick up a win. Narrow, but pick up a win.
I'm with you 100%. Look, I'm excited for the possibility of seeing minutes for Julie Ertz for the first time in NWSL in over 2 years. But with that being said, I don't know if there's going to be enough there from Angel City to go in and scrape out a win over San Diego. I think when you look at a rivalry like this, you have to eliminate something like travel or home, a home field advantage. I think I'm sure there are going to be fans who maybe make the effort to travel and support their team away like this because it's a short drive, like there's not a ton of distance there between these two teams. And I think if you're looking at the pro athlete side of those things, that's also a benefit. You're like, oh, we're quote unquote on the road this week to Los Angeles from San Diego. Like that's maybe something that they don't plan as much for as they would if they were going to the East Coast, right?
Right. And San Diego fans see what they can do to make it a home stadium for their players, right? When they travel and they do that. And also like with the potential of seeing Julie Ertz, I think that's a crowd draw for sure.
Yeah, and I just sort of looking at Angel City and sort of how their goals have occurred and happened this season. We've seen some questionable defensive shapes on some late game set pieces against Angel City, and I just don't think going up against Kaylin Sheridan, Naomi Girma, and those players and their defensive shape that those types of mistakes are going to happen. I also think you take a look at not just the different types of player rotations that we might see in this game on both sides of the ball, but you're absolutely looking at the coaches' head battle in this one. And I'm sorry, but Freya Coombe is going to have her team prepared for Casey Stoney is going to have her team prepared for anything that Angel City is going to present. There's enough film out there, and I'm on teams at this point to try to make those adjustments where you need to make them. And I'm absolutely looking at some of those late game winners from Angel City, and I have to anticipate that Casey Stoney and San Diego have taken a look at that film as well and said, here's where we're not going to make a mistake. So I'm looking at these two teams. I think it'll be a great game because it's a budding rivalry and it has delivered already in year one, and in year two I expect it to deliver again, and I'm going with San Diego to pick up all 3 points in this one on the road against Angel City. Last pick for us. We've got one more game to get through. This one, not as much of a rivalry, but these are two teams who need some points. A potential wooden spoon battle here between these two teams, where it's I believe it's 11 and 12 at this point for both of these teams. KC Current getting a win in Challenge Cup. Sometimes that helps kickstart some things for teams. Orlando Pride with a good performance. Unfortunately,
they couldn't hold out.
We were just talking about Angel City and getting those stoppage time winners, and one of those was against Orlando Pride, and the defensive shape and just sort of the mental lapse that occurred when you're trying to hang on and close out a game. So Orlando Pride, a 1-1 draw against North Carolina Courage. They just couldn't hang on. A late game stunner from outside the box by Denise O'Sullivan was the difference maker between 1 point and 3 points. And Kansas City Courier with a 2-0 win over the Dash. But I think those are two games for both of the teams that could maybe try to motivate that they could carry those performances into the regular season, into week 4, and try to go ahead and build on them, which is why this is a really tough pick to make. I think in light of all the news that we've heard out of Kansas City, I think the dismissal of Matt Potter, and looking at how we saw them go out against the Dash, I think was very promising. And I thought some of the performances that we saw from Orlando Pride was very promising as well. I like the evolution that we're starting to see really early on from Emily Madrill. I think she's one of those draft picks that has needed a few weeks to kind of get herself acclimated to NWSL play. And I think we finally saw a bit of a breakout game for the young defender going up against Orlando Pride. And this is a team that has needed some defensive help and defensive shape for quite some time. But we also saw the return of Montefusco as well. This is a
Right.
player where we're like, hey, maybe they'll look a little different when they've got Montefusco in the mix. So I'm curious to see how it's going to look on this quick turnaround in terms of their defensive shape. But I think that Kansas City is going to have more on offense to pick up the win, because even if they don't have Hamilton, they've got CC Kaiser. And I think that might be enough between Kaiser and Dabinia to pick up all 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, if Kaiser and Dabinia are available, this game at home, Children's Mercy Park for Kansas City, I agree with you, right? It does come down a little bit to availability report, because we got to see the partnership of Kaiser, who was not available for the regular season game for KC in week 3, was available. That partnership, wow. CC Kaiser is very talented, and she definitely brought a lot last year to this Kansas City side when she transferred over from Racing Louisville. And she just brings a very different look. And especially when you're without some of your other strikers that can't be scoring goals and can't be finding the back of the net, it's great that you can lean on a player like Kaiser. For Orlando, this is a team that's really struggled. The fact that they couldn't hold on at the end of their Challenge Cup game last night against North Carolina. They were up 1-0. They had an opportunity, even though waves and waves of pressure coming from North Carolina. They couldn't hold on, and they end up splitting points with North Carolina. That was a heartbreaker to me. I just think that Orlando is struggling at this point. And with both of these sides, Kansas City and Orlando, someone's going to come out on top. And I don't necessarily mean 3 points in a win, but they're going to pick up points. It could be both of these sides, right? Like each team has 0 points so far. 0 points.
Yeah.
Three straight losses. A lot of goals against, 9 for Kansas City, 8 for Orlando. They've got to tighten up defensively. They really have to. And I think we started to see that from Kansas City over these last 2 weeks and what they were doing. Yeah, they conceded 4 against Chicago, but they also scored 2. So aggregate, I'm giving them 2. And then last night against Houston, Kansas City able to hold that shutout. So I'm with you on this one. I think Kansas City is going to get the win at home, despite dealing with a bit of off-field turbulence. This is a team that's going to come together. We're going to see AD Franch back in goal for Kansas City with Dabinia. I like what we're getting from the Current, and I'm with you on this one. Kansas City gets the win.
I like how we're closing it out 2 for 2. We're going Wave, we're going Current, we're feeling the water signs right now. We're feeling the water energy to close out this episode.